Now, one thing the Chancellor of the Exchequer trumpeted today was what he called the biggest shake-up of pensions in the best part of 100 years. He claimed he wanted to give people with pensions more access to their money. Now, this is a decision which has implications not just for those who are sensible enough to put money aside for their old age, but for everyone. Andrew Verity reports.
The Chancellor may be slashing the tax on bingo, but he's also giving 13 million private pension savers the freedom to claim a bumper payout from themselves. Unlike those in the safe so-called defined benefit pensions where you know what you're getting out, members of defined contribution schemes only know what they're putting in, and the incomes in retirement they get depend on the luck of the markets. What private pension savers have to do when they retire is to swap the fund they've built up for an income until death. Now, the income they get will depend on annuity rates, and those depend on how long people are living for and interest rates. If you buy an annuity now, you're unlucky. You're going to get half of what you got 10 years ago. If you swap the average pension fund of £25,000, the best annuity would pay little more than £1,500 a year, and that doesn't go up with inflation. But from April next year, instead of taking your pension money as income, you'll be able to take the whole 25 grand up front. That can make a big difference to the likes of Don Anderson, who's got a tiny 2.5 grand pension fund.
The rules say that if I do anything with it, it must be to buy an annuity. And the annuity rates being so poor as they are, I would get, well, perhaps under £5 a week. It's derisory, it's a ridiculous sum. And it's so frustrating because I thought I'd save this for my old age, and I'm 81 now, so, you know, when am I going to get it? I can see me dying, and it's still in there.
The new freedom of choice will mean Don can get all his money next year, but even advisors who welcome the freedom of choice say most pensioners won't want to risk spending their pension too soon.
I think there'll be a minority of people choose to use the flexibility that's been announced today. But for most people, they don't want to blow 40 years worth of pension savings immediately. They've saved to provide themselves with a secure, guaranteed lifetime income.
On the stock market, traders reacted to the budget by hammering the shares of annuity providers like Legal & General and Aviva, who are expected to lose big business.
It's a cataclysmic announcement. It's a major change, and nobody should underestimate that, and the extent of the stock market reactions reflect that. It is too early to say where this will go. If we compare other markets, say in the United States, where there is no compulsion to buy an annuity, then around 10% of people buy an annuity and 90% don't, which is the exact polar opposite to what happens in this country. So markets have to worry. Will the market drop by a half? Will it drop by 80%? No one yet knows for certain.
With more pension money spent sooner rather than later, the Treasury's assuming it'll get more than £1 billion a year extra in tax. But it also admits to a risk. Members of public sector pensions who want their money early could transfer their money out to the new flexible schemes, costing the Treasury hundreds of millions. So they're banning those transfers. If you're in one of those schemes, it means less freedom, not more.
Well, Mark Wood is the boss of JLT Employee Benefits, a pensions consultancy. Is this a good idea?
Well, I think there's a vast array of different things that are included in the announcements today, so we need to be a little bit specific. And of course, the big change that's taking place is that people are given so much more opportunity to do what they will with the money that they've accumulated during a lifetime.
Is that a good idea?
Well, I think it's a good idea for some and not such a good idea for others. One of the problems we have is that people find it very difficult to appreciate just how long they're going to live for. And one of the great joys of annuity purchase, which is the old regime, is that the money you received was guaranteed for life. And now people are going to have to estimate to some extent how much they draw of their capital over what period of time. And as your film illustrated, you know, there'll be some relatively elderly people who potentially run out of money.
What happens then?
Well, I guess they fall back on the state. You know, life expectancy is accelerating at the rate of 2.5 years every decade at the moment for a 65-year-old. That's 6.5 hours a day on average. It's a dramatic increase, and people need to provide for that length of retirement.
we saw that annuity providers, pensions companies, their shares, many of them, took a real pasting today. Was that wise?
Well, I think the market overreacted to this announcement because I think a large number of people, for the reason I've just described, will continue to buy annuities at least for part of their pension provision. So I think what we might see going forward is people will use some of their capital to buy an annuity that pays a portion of their income. And
would you buy an annuity now?
Well, I wouldn't buy an annuity today. The market clearly has reacted to quantitative easing. Real interest rates have dropped dramatically. That's reflected in the price of an annuity. We need to get to a position where we've got much stronger real rates of return for annuities to become good value.
So
again.
don't buy, your advice would be don't buy any annuities until interest rates go up.
If you can afford to, put it off. And of course, that's one of the occasions where this change today is very good news because it enables people to draw a bit of their capital, put off buying an annuity, wait until an annuity is better value, and then invest in an annuity when the market is more favourable.
Thank you very much.